Oh, hi. Well, good to see you. It's been a while, hasn't it? Welcome back to my studio. Not much has changed here. I think this is probably the exact same display that was up last time I recorded here. My name is Laura, and I have not recorded a YouTube video in a really long time. So I decided to just spontaneously come on here today and try and put something together for you. Because I know I've had some messages from people, really kind messages, on Instagram and on YouTube, just saying that y'all missed me, which is really sweet. And I miss doing this, and I miss this connection. Um, but yeah, I have like no real reason why I stopped recording or stopped uploading or anything like that. Like nothing negative. I think I just kind of hit that point of like a burnout that so many people experience when they're kind of trying to create their own momentum. So I just got really hung up on views and on whether the video or my posts even on Instagram were like successful or not. I was judging all that based on like how much interaction it was getting, and like I think that social media doesn't help with that because like all the apps are really like pushing that all the time now too, like engagement all the time, and it just kind of feels like I compare it to almost like gambling, because you really don't know when you press post on something what's going to happen or not, and it's really easy to kind of get hooked on only wanting a positive response, which the way that social media is set up is like more views and more likes and more interaction, and make sure you keep your followers going, and like you cannot plateau ever. And I think I just burned myself out on like trying so hard for the wrong reasons, where really the whole point of this was just to engage a little bit more with you rather than having this kind of one-sided social media where I was always putting things out. So here we are. I just kind of hit that point where like nothing negative happened, but I was just really struggling to to put anything together, and also really like a lot of questioning and doubting myself, whether what I was doing, like whether anybody cared or whether they're interested in it. Anyways, I don't want to get too far into this because, we all kind of know how this goes. We've all seen creators do this, and like we've all had these moments ourselves. So, I don't want to get too into that, and I'm not wanting to be very negative about it, because really I think I just needed a break, and that's what I ended up giving myself, just not in like probably not in the most positive way for myself, where I was like still putting a lot of pressure on myself to try and record and was just not doing it. And then there's like that cycle of guilt and all that. So here we are. It's a beautiful day here. The fall fair is going today on Pender Island, so I'm going to go check that out a little later. But while I had some time this afternoon, I thought I would just check in and say, hey, I have some bags to show you. I have a few knitting projects, and just catch you up a little bit. And yeah, I think that's it. That's basically it. So I don't even know if I introduced myself properly or anything like that. My name is Laura. I was hoping not to do a lot of editing on this video. I thought, oh, I'll just do one really good cut and then I won't have to edit it at all. But that's obviously not going to happen. So, yeah, so my name is Laura, and I occasionally knit, and I make knitting project bags from time to time as well. So you'll be able to see some of those later. But yeah, the one thing that I've been working on recently, and the thing that's kind of made me want to start recording again, is a pair of socks. So I have one finished here, you can see. It has this really nice, just little simple pearl detail texture on it. And I did a fish lips kiss heel and a standard toe. And I also did this really nice folded hem. So what I did here was I knit like, I think 19 rounds or something like that in just plain knitting. And then I started in my pattern, knit another 19 rounds, and then connected it together. If I was going to do this again, I would have done this part in plain knitting. But by the time I realized that, it was kind of too late to change. And so I just have to go with it. So if I do this again, I will definitely do this top part plain knitting, just because I think it will make a nicer contrast on the rest of the sock. But yeah, I'm really loving these. A little bit of a pattern is nice for me, especially if I'm like getting back into a project. Because it's not as mindless as just knitting around in circles. And then also you have like a way to kind of gauge your progress. So this is how far I am on the second sock. And like this has all been done really recently, where like the majority of this happened a long time ago, and then I just picked it up again and kind of finished it off. But I love this yarn. These are totally my colors right now. This beautiful deep kind of tealy. It's a little more green in real life than it's showing up here. It's showing up pretty blue, but it definitely has green in it. And this is just leftovers from a Gauge Dye Works sweater sized or sweater patterned skein that I had. So I just had a lot of the solid teal. I use that for the heels and toes. And then the main color here, this is Long Dog yarn. So there's their tag there. Probably not a current tag because this has been in my stash for a long time. And the colorway is Overboard. And this is a 75% superwash, 25% nylon. It has 463 yards to 100 grams. But it is a 2-ply, which usually 2-plies have like closer to 400 yards per 100 grams. But either way, you know, despite the extra yardage, it's still knitting up really nice and plump, which is why I love a 2-ply yarn. And the gauge is also quite thick, the Gauge Dye Works yarn, so they're working really well together. The toe and the heel are probably like a little thicker and more robust than the Long Dog yarn, but that's probably a good thing, I think, because then the heel and the toe will probably wear better. So that's been really fun and, you know, really helpful to get me back into knitting a little bit again. It was really simple to just pick it up and kind of pick right up where I left off. And I'm starting to see that kind of satisfaction of having a thing coming together. So that feels really good. And just, I think, you know, if you're in a slump too, and you're looking to kind of, you know, get excited about your knitting again, I would pick something that you really love. So I pulled this out of my stash because I just love all the colors in it. And the little pops of pink and the darker blue in there, and there's kind of some purple. Either way, I just went through and I picked out something that was just like really, really into the colors that I've been enjoying lately, like wearing as clothing. And also I've been kind of hoarding a lot of these kind of favorite skeins of yarn for a long time, and I want to start using those and moving on from just keeping large amounts of yarn for myself for years and years and years. So yeah, that's what I would recommend if you're trying to get out of a slump, is like a simple project, colors that you really love. And then another good motivator, not that it matters for this one, but another good motivator might be to make something for someone else. Because if you're like me, you might be kind of getting to that stage in your knitting life where you have a lot of knit things. You know, I've knit a lot of things for myself. And so while these are probably going to be for me because I love the colors and everything, I think that's also something that you could try out, is just making something for someone else, especially if you know they're really going to appreciate and love the gift. You know, their excitement might give you some excitement of your own, you know? And so that project I'm using to try and get me psyched up for another big fall project that I'd like to finish. Because I started this in the spring. I shoved it in a bag. I literally have not looked at this in months. I'm just pulling it out of the bag right now. So this is in one of my XL bucket bags that I snagged for myself out of the shop. And it's a sweater project. And this is the Halibut Sweater by Caitlin Hunter. And it's a colorwork sweater. I've talked about it on the channel. I think I was talking about starting it possibly in my last vlog that I did like way back last year. But I'm not actually 100% sure on that. But I know I bought the yarn for it quite a while ago, and I definitely like talked about this project a lot because I was really excited to start it. And I did get it started in the spring and did some good work on it, and then I think it just got warmer and kind of went by the wayside. But you can see how much I have done here. It looks so good on camera. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm getting excited just looking at this again. So this is the halibut sweater, and this is the tail here of a halibut fish. I'm not going to show you the chart. You'll have to check out her pattern photos if you're interested in seeing it, but you can see I've got the tail of the fish, and I'm just working into the body now. Halibut are flat fish, very flat, so they'll work well on this pattern. And I'm really excited. It's like kitschy in the way that I want it to be kitschy, and that it's gonna have a fish on it, but it's also gonna be like a really beautiful, just kind of handmade garment and item as well. So like, like a beautiful handmade thing, but also with some personality. So who doesn't love that? So yeah, I am really excited to get working on this again. I have a trip back to Ontario to visit my family planned pretty soon. So if I have enough room in my luggage, maybe I will bring this along and try and get some good work done on it. But if I don't have enough room, I will probably just shove a sock project in there. So yeah, you can see I'm doing a pretty good job with my tension. Color work can be a little tough for me. I've never seemed to find that perfect in between. It's either like too loose or too tight. But I was really just trying to do a nice even tension as I made this, and considering it's not blocked or anything, I think it looks really great. So yeah, halibut sweater, Caitlin Hunter. I'm gonna look up some info on this because I really don't remember much of what I've done here. I'm knitting the 46-inch bust size, which is the third size up, and this pattern goes to 74-inch bust size. From 38 is the smallest to 74. It is intended to have some positive ease, so I'm guessing, yeah, 6 to 10 inches it says. So it's a fairly size inclusive pattern, which is great. And yeah, I'm about, just looking at it, I'm over halfway down the chart. The chart has 64 rounds in it, and if I marked this correctly, I am finished round 38 right now. So that's good. I am left-handed and I knit left-handed, so knitting from charts can be really interesting for me. I sometimes will just reverse the whole chart and work the chart from left to right. This time I am working the chart as it's shown from right to left, but then when I knit, I'm actually knitting left to right. But if you're left-handed, you're probably used to doing all sorts of spatial magic to figure things out, figure out how to live in your right-handed world. So if you're right-handed, that sounds pretty nuts, but if you're left-handed, that probably tracks pretty well. And then the yarn I'm using is the Holstgarn Super Soft, and I'm using this held double. The pattern called for Kelburn Woolen Scout, which is like a DK weight. And what I realized was that if I held these two double, it was almost like a perfect match for like a weight to yardage ratio. So I decided to try this out, and it's working really well. So I have two balls of the contrast color here that I'm holding together as one. And then I bought a really large cone, which I don't have, it's stashed somewhere, of the main color, which is this like dark charcoal color. And what I've done is, because I'm holding it double, I've wound off on my ball winder several cakes, which I can then like take one strand from each and hold those double to knit from. But yeah, it was a very affordable way to go. The Holstgarn is pretty good price, especially if you can get that big cone, because it's like 500 grams, I think. I think it's 10 of these regular size balls. So it's a much better price than buying it all put up into little balls. And I got this online from the Little Red Mitten shop, which is actually in Ontario in St. Thomas. And yeah, so that's really all I have to say about that, because it's been so long that I worked on it. I don't have any kind of like current thoughts coming up, but that was actually a really fun surprise to pull this out and look at it again, because it looks great. It doesn't feel really soft yet, but I know that it will soften up after blocking. This yarn is just, it's just a little rough when you're working with it off the skein. But this is my version of a swatch. This swatch has been washed and dried, and it has a much softer feel, and the yarn also like plumps up a lot and kind of fills in all the little holes. So yeah, I would recommend the yarn. I love this pattern. Caitlin Hunter patterns are great. I've knit a few of them now, and yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I have to say about that. So I'll just pop that back into its little bag and put it aside. And other than that, that's kind of it for knitting. I do have an embroidery project here that I thought I might show you, because I'm enjoying working on this. Again, I've been picking it up, working on it a little bit, and then putting it away for a ridiculous amount of time. But every time I pull it out, I get excited about it again. So it's a black work pattern. I bought this pattern off of Etsy. The company name is called Trunky Stitches, like trunk, like an elephant trunk. And they had quite a few beautiful black work patterns. This is my first time doing black work. This is what I'm working on. Isn't it sweet with the little foxes on there? So the only color is this one, which will eventually be the center. And it's meant to go in a round hoop at the end. So you can see I'm just working on the edges now. And it's just very detailed, fine work, but really enjoyable. And I love how crisp it looks. And it's just feels good to work on something like this, you know, something that I'm kind of thinking of as long term, and I'm not really stressed about when it's finished. It's just something to pick up and just work away on and just enjoy it for what it is, which is a lovely little meditative project. So I'm doing this on just regular Aida cloth, nothing fancy. I got the like antique kind of linen color one, the one that's like, it's got like a natural speckle and kind of nubby fabric to it, and I think it's just going to look really beautiful when it's finished and all framed up in a nice light wood hoop. So yeah, there's that too. And honestly, that's pretty much it. So as the fall progresses, I'm hoping to get back into some crafting, you know, now that the weather is like, I know it's not fall yet, but I can just feel it starting to happen. So now that things are starting to change, my garden is less of a priority now. I've been spending a lot of time out there this summer. So I'm hoping to get back into some of these projects. And, you know, I have a few projects that I planned like quite a long time ago that I'm still interested in doing. So my goal is just to kind of get that excitement back for knitting and try and continue and get some momentum going, and just be a little bit more productive. So wouldn't that be great? So the other thing that I have not been doing a lot of is updating the Etsy shop. You know, these things happen. I've had the Etsy shop since 2014, and it's always been an ebb and flow thing. So we're going to be coming up on 10 years next year. But I had some beautiful rifle paper company fabrics that I wanted to work with. So I just pulled them out and started working. And instead of kind of setting deadlines and pressuring myself to finish them, one day I cut the fabric out, and then the next day I did some sewing. And then I realized that I was going to be away for a bit, so they never went in the shop, but they are in the shop now. So I thought I would show you what's available. You can find the link to my shop down below. So I made a lot of sock size bags this time, just because I think in the summertime we're often working on smaller, more portable projects. One, because people are often on the go a lot in the summer, and then just, you know, when it's hot out, you don't want to work on something too big. So either way, I went with some sock size bags. So I have this print. I actually made 2 of these. Exactly the same though. Same fabric on the outside, and then they both have the same print on the inside as well. So these are just great for sock knitting, and they hold a lot for their size. So it's been a favorite of mine for a long time. I have a lot of my own sock size bags. I also knit a lot of socks, so that just makes sense. And then these 2 are like fraternal twins. They're almost the same, but just for the ease of using as much fabric as possible, they're not cut exactly the same. So you can see the pattern is a little bit higher positioned on this one than this one, but the same print. This is canvas, so it's a cotton linen canvas. It's a little thicker, and they both have this like olivey green on the inside. So the only thing that's different about these 2 bags is just the placement of the fabric on the outside. And then these are canvas as well. So it's the same pattern in like a lighter colorway and then in a darker colorway. So you can see there's some ladybugs and butterflies and insects on there. There's a few strawberry plants and a poppy and some other flowers. So they're very beautiful. I don't know which one I like better, the light or the dark. Let me know which one you prefer, because I really struggle. I love them both a lot. And then they both have this nice bright yellow on the inside. And then this one is like a, what do you call it? Like a zodiac pattern. So it has all the different zodiac signs and moons and stars, and it's just really beautiful with this metallic gold. This is a really beautiful soft fabric. I have that in the sock size. And then I also made a medium size as well, the medium drawstring, which has a nice deep base on it and just a simple drawstring closure, which will fit like a larger project really well. And then this just has a metallic gold cross on black fabric on the inside. The other medium-sized bag is this beautiful butterfly print, just really light and airy, and I've used a linen on the bottom here, and then I picked up some of the blues on the butterfly wings and used this blue speckle fabric for the inside. And then I also have 3 of the large zipper bag size, so this is for like larger projects. I don't know, several skeins. I used to call these sweater size bags, but they're not quite big enough for a sweater, really. You know, you could maybe fit the yarn you needed for a fingering weight sweater in here. But they are designed for kind of larger projects. And I have this pocket on the inside and just a nice zipper closure and a handle. So this is a beautiful kind of dark print. And this is canvas with a beautiful blue on the bottom and a pink inside pocket. And then this last one is just this really bright and sunny pink and yellow print, all from Rifle Paper Company, which is printed by Cotton and Steel Fabrics, and then a yellow pocket on this one and a nice matching pink inside. So yeah, if you're interested in any of those, you can find them in my shop. My shop's called I Heart You, spelled EWE, and they are available now. So go check it out. And I think that's it for me. So I'm really excited to hear what you've been working on lately and what's exciting for you and keeping you motivated. It feels good to be here. It feels a little weird, but it feels good to be here and recording, and I'm excited to put this out with little to no expectations on how it will perform. And I know that I will connect with the people who have been the most supportive. You know, even if this video doesn't reach very many people, I know the people that it will reach are the people who have just been wonderful motivators and positive commenters, and just those encouraging, lovely people who are always commenting and interacting. And so that's who this video is really here for, because you're the people who have been reaching out and saying hello and making sure that everything's good. So either way, I'm gonna stop now. It's great to be back. I hope to be back again soon, but I'm not putting any promises on timelines or anything because it just doesn't work. So hope you really enjoy the rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed watching this, and we'll see you again soon.